Coach, thanks for the time. We had heard inklings over the weekend that Phil and TY were off to a pretty nice start. We saw some examples of that early today. Where are these two at from your spot?
I mean, I think it's still early in the process, but yesterday was a good day. I think they got to throw a couple times before we started. So, you know, when you're throwing, you got two guys who are instinctive and smart football players. It's not going to take them long to connect. And you could see that already. Philip, T.Y.'s body language is so easy to read. He's so smart in understanding leverage and understanding spacing and also understanding timing. There was a play yesterday, you know, where T.Y. got held up a little bit on his release, and so he wasn't able to get the full route, but he knew exactly the spot to get to at the right time to be on the quarterback's time. Nice long completion. So examples like that will keep showing up, I'm sure, during camp.
Phil B.
Coach, thank you for your time.
You got it, Phil.
Coach Dungy always talked about quality of work as opposed to quantity of work. But I realize you're on a short time frame. How do you balance the quality but also needing the quantity in this preseason?
Yeah, it is a balance. You're right. And so, you know, it's a day-to-day. There's no perfect formula. So, you know, we got a lot of great people, our trainers, our strength staff, our players, our coaches. You know, we're always assessing things. You know, we have a schedule that's based on a lot of history. You know, we've all been around this game a long time. You know, we know how long things take typically. So you just put all our heads together. You put your foot on the gas as long as you can. You back off at certain times. You learn how to make progress in walkthroughs and in meetings and continue to get better there. But, you know, we also have a sense of urgency, like you're saying, you know, knowing that we have 11 padded practices before that first week. So really the goal and the mindset is to make the most out of those 11 practices in pads, starting with today. And I thought we did that. I thought today was a really good day. It was just great to get back out there, physical, fast. But guys were smart. So we got a lot done.
Thank you.
Stephen Holder.
Hey, Frank. So just to kind of elaborate on the first question with Philip and TY, just TY specifically, you know, having had the little tweak and being on NFI, just what kind of fast start is he off to? I mean, I didn't see a guy who looked like he had a hamstring a week ago. Are you surprised, or is that just what he does?
No, I'm not surprised. You know, I think part of that was he came in such good shape. You know, like he always does, at least the years I've been here, he's come in phenomenal shape. And so the little hamstring thing he had last week was really minor. And it was definitely a thing, but we were definitely going to be, you know, definitely going to be cautious with it. So, you know, TY worked through it. And, you know, I think now we're just kind of ramping him back up. And as he feels confident and we can get more and more reps with him, it'll be good for that, to build that chemistry.
Joel Erickson.
Frank, with Justin Houston being up, is that like are you guys doing some veteran day type stuff? And is that kind of what was going on with Braden too?
No, Justin had we actually held him out today. He had there was a minor collision yesterday where he strained something in his neck inadvertently. It was kind of an awkward deal, not a typical deal. So just being precautionary there. And so just held him out for that reason.
George Bremer.
Coach, any update on Kenny Moore? We saw he left a little early today.
Yeah, strained his groin. Not sure to what degree. As you know, that these soft tissue issues, they come in degrees. So we'll have to see how it settles out over the next day or two to determine, you know, what it'll do as far as him missing practice time.
Mike Chappell.
Yeah, since we're on the injury bug here, Braden Smith not out there as well.
No, you know, he's been working through, you know, a little issue he's had with his foot. You know, we don't think it's anything major. Again, you know, want to get started on the right foot. We want to be smart. We don't want to have a guy set back just because, like we were saying earlier, the uniqueness of the timing of this thing, you know, with no preseason games and this longer ramp up period, we don't want to have any major setbacks. So when we get a guy, you know, like Braden's issue and in Justin's issue, hey, let's just make sure we got this thing right before we start going full speed.
Kevin Bowen.
Frank, when you look at your guys' kicking competition, is it simply just the best percentage wins? You guys chart kicks, or is it something that'll be Chase has a bit of an advantage because he kicked in the NFL before?
You know, everything will weigh into it, including Chase's experience, every kick that's charted, you know, every aspect of that charting, you know, the accuracy, you know, of those kicks, not just the ones that are good and not good, but even the accuracy, you know, of a good one. You know, how good was it? It's kind of like a quarterback. You know, you can have two completions and they look completely different. You know, one is quarterback hits a guy right in stride as opposed to throwing it behind him. And, you know, when you, after enough kicks, it's kind of the same thing. When a guy keeps hitting them straight down the middle, that kind of stuff gets noticed if that happens. So, and then we're trying to do some unique things, you know, a little bit different than we've done in the past, where typically we would always have all of our kicking in one period, and we're spreading out the kicking over a couple periods. So, you know, we'll kick some early, and then we'll kick some at the end of a couple team periods and try to create some game-like situations. You know, without the preseason games, you know, we've tried to put a little bit more emphasis really on the competition between the two of them, you know, to try to put as much pressure as we can. I mean, the kickers I've been around that are good kickers, like these two guys, they love the pressure. So how can we amp that up in a practice setting to get those game-like reps? And that's what we're trying to do.
And Sterling.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned that you liked today's practice. What specifically made you happy?
The physicality of it. You know, we put pads on for the first time and that we knew how to do it. You know, I always think that smart players know how to practice really hard, but be smart, stay off the ground. You know, we're being really physical. We got to condition this is a very physical game. So you have to condition yourself physically. You have to get used to taking that pounding and delivering a pounding. And so, you know, you don't want to go into the season having to work through that kind of soreness. So let's get accustomed to it right now. Let's be physical out there, but we also have to realize that, you know, we're not taking guys to the ground, we're not cutting, and we're staying off the quarterback and stuff like that. And our guys did a really good job of that today. I mean, it was really physical out there through every period. And so I was very pleased with that.
Okay, a few more. Zach Kiefer.
Frank, removing the uncertainty about the virus and all that, when you look at your team, 28 days to go before the opener, no preseason, you said you liked your roster. What are the questions you have you want answered in the next couple of weeks? What are the uncertainties you have about where your team needs to get better?
You know, we always need to be more consistent in all three phases. And we talked a little bit about that yesterday, because today being the first day in pads, you know, we're back to install one. So, you know, we really are like starting with install one. So it's about consistency. It's about execution on a consistent level. And then now, once you get that, now the next step that we've also talked about is when you can develop that consistency and that constant pressure that you put on an offense or put on a defense or put on an opposing special teams unit, it's playing with that discipline and aggressiveness now that you create big plays. And so we're looking to create more big plays, you know, on defense, on special teams, and on offense. So I think that, you know, we need to see that out in practice. We want to see those kind of plays being made out in practice to the extent that we can see that. And then the second thing, Zach, that I think we want to see is we really want to understand the depth of our roster, knowing that we'll have a bigger roster with a bigger practice squad. So a little bit more work for those guys to try to figure out how the roster is going to fill in.
Okay, two more. Greg Doyle.
Hey, Frank, Darius Leonard today, I mean, catches everybody's eye, but he caught mine. He caught my ear too. Just would you mind expounding on what it's like to have a guy like that, your best player almost, with that kind of attitude as well?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I mean, Darius he leads by example with the juice he has. You know, we talk about it all the time. I mean, he emanates or if that's the right word, he just flows out of him. And it's authentic and it's genuine. And everybody knows that about Darius. And so, but then he matches that, you know, he's not just talking it and chattering about it. It's coming out and how fast and how hard he plays. You know, I just continue to be amazed at, you know, just watching him, his instinctiveness as a player, you know, just even watching him more closely, even in the last week in this ramp up period, just how smart of a player he is, which tells me that he's just putting in the work. And I think that's where some of that comes from. He's got the natural personality to bring that, but then it comes from his preparation and the confidence that he has when he steps out on the field as a player. And I think that our team feeds off of that. So I always encourage that with Darius.
All right, last one, Mike Wells.
Hey, Frank, you mentioned just a couple minutes ago about the physical practice was and everything. As a team, how tough of a balancing act is this for you guys? You want to get some hits in to get ready for the regular season, but at the same time, not risk getting any injuries, especially with no preseason games going on.
I mean, you can't play scared. I mean, you know, we talked about it this morning as a coaching staff. This is football, and so we got to practice it. You know, we got to feel it. We got to see it. You know, every aspect of the game. We can't walk into Jacksonville on Sunday for that first game, and all of a sudden the speed of the game and the physicality of the game is at a tempo that we haven't felt since last year. That just doesn't bode very well. So our players know that. We got smart players. So we're about competing with one another. We really feel like we can be good in all three phases. So the emphasis is on, you know, not just the physicality, but just on competing against each other, competing with a level of physicality and execution that will push us to get better. And I just think everyone in this building intuitively and instinctively knows that and believes that if we want to be good on Sundays, if we want to be physical on Sundays, then we can't just turn a switch on, you know, on Sunday morning down in Jacksonville. We got to do it out here and establish the kind of team we're going to be on the practice field, and then let that travel with us wherever we go.